Hello guys and welcome back. So I said that we talk about my favorite comics from the month. So now I'm finally sitting down. I've just finished reading them. It took me literally 3 weeks to get through all those comics. I swear there was like 70 of them. But I have finally gotten through everything and I want to talk my favorite ones. I just want to quickly, before we get into it, do another shout out for the DC Fans channel because I just recently reviewed Shade the Changing Girl issue number 6. So this is because I'm part of the DC Young Animals book club over on the DC Fans channel. So I will link the video here, which you can click and go watch, but I'll also leave a link in the description below. So please go watch if you are reading Shade the Changing Girl. You have to give that comic more love because I feel like it's not getting as much love as it really should. You're not watching this video so we can talk about Shade the Changing Girl. We're going to be talking about my favorite comics from last month. So first up on the list I have Super Sons issue number 1. So I did talk about this briefly in my comic book haul. I absolutely loved it. It's been one of my most anticipated series ever since I heard it was announced. Ever since I was reading Lois and Clark, I really wanted to see a standalone story with John. And when I heard that they were going to combine him with Damian Wayne, at first I thought, oh, because I'm not really a fan of Damian Wayne. I honestly find him to be a little shit that just rubs me the wrong way. But I feel like the dynamic between the two is absolutely fantastic. I feel like John's down-to-earth personality really kind of mellows out Damian, and you can kind of get used to his little bratty self. So the second book that I've chosen for my favorites of the month is Supergirl being Super book number 2, which I think was pretty obvious I was going to choose it. As I said in my comic book haul, this book completely redeemed the series. We don't really know a lot about this Supergirl. It's a completely different origin story. There's just so much differences in this comic that I wasn't quite sure that I was going to get used to it. But this particular issue went through all the emotions that Kara's been feeling about coming to Earth and trying to fit in. And I will give a little bit of a spoiler here, so if you haven't read it, you may want to skip forward a little bit. But this issue saw the aftermath of Kara not being able to save one of her best friends, and basically the whole issue is her feeling almost dead inside. She's got so many powers and she couldn't save her best friend, which completely crippled her, and she's been literally feeling like a shell of herself this whole issue. So though this series is a little bit different from the normal Supergirl origins that we know of, I think it's kind of cool that there's like an air of mystery about what her backstory is going to be. So I'm actually quite excited to see how they tackle this one. So I highly suggest picking this one up. It is so good and you don't want to miss it. The next book I've got in my pile is Curse Words issue number 2. This was a pleasant little surprise that I actually discovered this one. So this was written by Charles Soule, who's one of my favorite writers, so I was guaranteed to like it. But it really is such a weird and wonderful kind of comic. It's just something you really wouldn't expect, but it's just so much fun to read. So the basic premise of this story is it revolves around this character called Wizard, who is basically this all great and powerful wizard that's been sent to Earth by his faction to destroy it. And he's decided that he actually likes Earth and he wants to stay there. So he's kind of disobeyed his orders and now lives on Earth. But of course he's got his own magical powers, he's got his staff, and he can basically do anything. Now this defiance from his faction has obviously put him in hot water, so the faction has been sending people to try and kill him. There's 2 really great characters in this comic. Obviously the main character, Wizard, he's not an evil character, but he has previously been evil, so he's trying to get better. And you can just see, even though we haven't seen him as an evil character, we've kind of come into the middle of the story when he's trying to redeem himself. He's basically trying to look at the bigger picture of things when he's doing good, not just the simple, I cannot kill, I cannot do these bad kind of things. I'm just going to do something that's for the greater good. It's always kind of the greater good, the bigger picture with him. So it's kind of interesting to see the choices that he takes to save people, and also the ways that he goes in trying to fix some solutions. And the second amazing character in this is his sidekick, Margaret, who is this koala, but it's a talking koala. So it's just so much fun. This comic is so much fun. They're only on the 2nd issue, so I highly recommend you picking up issue 1 and issue 2 if you're into crazy magical worlds and lots of humor and morals. Then this is something that you should be picking up, absolutely. Now next on my comic book favorites list is Spell on Wheels issue number 5. I said this was going to be on the list and I did not disappoint. So yes, this was the epic conclusion to this series. I'm kind of bummed out that it's finishing, but it was such a fun comic. If you are a big fan of Charmed or Buffy or any of those fun magical things, I feel like this is almost like the female version of Curse Words. It's just got a very fun vibe. but it also has these very serious, dark elements enveloped into the story as well. The basic plot for this, if you haven't read any of the Spell on Wheels, is based around these three female characters who are all witches, and something very important that's a supernatural object has been stolen from them, and basically they go on this journey to find out where it's gone and who's taken it. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but in this last issue we find out who was responsible for stealing the item in the first place. And it is quite a fun and unexpected twist. If you don't want to pick up the single issues, it will be out in trade very, very soon. Next on my list is Blood Blister issue number 1. This was surprisingly good, and the twist at the end was amazing. The basic premise of this is the main character is a little bit of a scoundrel, and he works for this dodgy company that kind of scams people and makes them sign contracts. I'm sure there's a better word to describe the kind of things that he does, but that's what I'm going with at the moment. But they set up the character that he's not evil, he's just a scoundrel. He's a bad person that really doesn't give a shit about anyone else. He just does things for himself. Then karma comes back to bite him in the ass, and that's where the plot twist at the very end of this issue comes into place. Now, I'm very excited to get my hands on the second issue of this and see how this series pans out, because this first issue really, really excited me. So that was it for my comic book favorites of the month. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what your favorite comic books were of the month by commenting below. And guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon. Goodbye.